You're listening to Excellence Above Talent, a podcast where we have the hard conversations about the lives of men and what leads us to achieve greatness and suffer defeat. Hear from other men's journeys as well, as we all learn and grow together to become inspirations to ourselves and those around us. And now your host, Aaron Thomas.
What's up, my beautiful people? Aaron Thomas with Excellence Above Talent. I have been in the process of learning more about myself, learning more about manhood and what makes a high value man. I've been talking to people, learning with people about, certain issues that men have. It's just been a good journey thus far. I've really enjoyed this podcast. I've really enjoyed talking to all of my guests, and I can't wait to talk to more to continue on this learning journey. So today, I want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a minute now, something that I have learned in my process of separation with my wife, and I have picked up this book. It is called A Way to a Superior Man. I always reference it on my podcast. I think it's just an amazing book. And there is a chapter in this book that has really been on my mind, and I just kind of want to have a discussion about it. Maybe it'll help someone out. Maybe it will, do the things we do. So the title of the chapter is Never Change Your Mind Just to Please a Woman. And as a high value man, your ideals are your ideals and her ideals are her ideals. And you shouldn't change yours in order to make her feel better or in order to appease your woman, your spouse. And so there's a quote I want to read, and then we'll just get into it. If a woman suggests something that changes a man's perspective, then he should make a new decision based on his new perspective. But he should never betray his own deepest knowledge and intuition in order to please his woman or go along with her. Both she and he will be weakened by such action. They will grow to resent each other, and the crust of accumulated inauthenticity will burden their love as well as their perspective for free action. I can tell you in this process of separation with Erica, I lost myself in the marriage. I thought that if I did everything that she wanted me to do, regardless of if I didn't want to do it or knew better, if I just did it, she would be happy. And there's this saying that, guys say a lot, happy wife, happy life. And I'm starting to not like that saying, because if the man isn't happy, the wife will never be happy neither. So there is no happy life without a happy man and a happy wife. So I feel like, the saying should be changed to happy life, happy husband, happy wife. But that's another day. One of the reasons why I think, and he discussed this in the book, is we are our own being. I am my own being. I have my own thoughts and feelings and emotions, and the people around me have their own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if you're trying to take on everyone else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and leave yours on the back burner, you weaken yourself as a person. And I don't know if it's I could just say that's, to me, it's scientifically factual, but I'm not a scientist, so it could be a dangerous statement. But I just know that whenever I did those things, that it was 100% what happened to me. You take on the role that everyone else wants you to take on, and you weaken yourself as a person. You start to lose yourself as a person. You begin to not know who you are as a person. And then people will then take advantage and use you in ways that are beneficial for them because they know you'll never say no. Because they know that if they need anything from anybody, they can call you because you are their go to guy. You are their yes man. And that to me is a dangerous place to be. It's dangerous because the more you say yes when you don't want to say yes, you lose more and more of yourself. And this isn't just in relationships with a spouse, it is also with family and friends, and also at work. At some point, you have to stop doing what everyone else is wanting you to do, take the time to learn about yourself, and say no from time to time. So, this is my belief. One of the issues I had in my marriage, and I'm only saying this out loud because I feel this is something that can help other men in this process. So, I had an issue with changing my mind or going along with what my spouse wanted, knowing that maybe we couldn't afford it, or I didn't want to do it, or it just wasn't the right time. But I never said no. And a lot of times I felt frustrated, disappointment, anger, and I tried to blame her for those feelings. There wasn't accountability on myself when it came to questioning why am I not saying no when I want to say no and saying yes when I want to say yes. And so it became easy when things didn't happen the way they should have, or when things didn't go the way they should have, looking to her, blaming her because I knew or I wanted to say no and I didn't. And that created a lot of friction and chaos within. And again, it's coming from me. It's coming from not knowing myself. It's coming from trying to say yes all the time. What I am not saying is you should not listen to your woman, your spouse, because you should. You should listen to what it is that she has to say and then formulate your ideals or your perspective off of what she had to say. And you shouldn't just change your mind because she said it. And a lot of men, including myself, when my spouse talked, it was immediately put into the nagging category. She's nagging, she's nagging, she's nagging. And she wasn't nagging. She was trying to communicate what it is that she wanted and needed at that point in time, or what it is that she wanted me to do. And because I wasn't listening, because I thought it was nagging, I immediately shut her off, shut down, didn't listen, or created an argument. And then because I did all of that and she came and she was wanting to do something, I felt the need to say yes, not knowing that if I would have just sat down and had the conversation with her needs could have been met, my needs could have been met. The relationship is stronger because we're listening to each other, but instead it's fractured. And over time, after a while, those fractures turn into an earthquake. And it just depends on how big or how small the fracture is. I'm not sure how big of an earthquake is, but I mean, I guess mine was an 8.7. This is the reason why I I believe men should never change their mind to please a woman. It makes you look weak as a man. Your woman is coming to you, your spouse is coming to you, and she has a suggestion or an ideal. Listen to that suggestion or ideal. You throw out your suggestions and ideal, and y'all come up with the best solution. That's how it should be. But because you are a yes man and you never tell her no, or she's able to change your mind or perspective anytime she wants, she perceives you as a weak man. Because if you can't trust yourself, if you can't trust your ideals, if you can't trust your perspective or your suggestions, why should she? Why should she? Think about it. If she can come into your life and make you change everything that you do, how can she trust you? It is so important as a man to know thyself. Because if you don't know who you are as a man, any and everybody will walk on you. Or You'll become an asshole who just treats people like crap because you know that people are going to treat you like crap anyway. So you get at them before they get at you. So you treat people like crap because you don't know yourself, or you get walked over or walked on because you don't know yourself. Learning about your triggers, learning about your past traumas and pain only makes you stronger as a man. Learning to be open and vulnerable only makes you stronger as a man. I am not sure why society has put on men and young boys to keep quiet and not say anything and struggle alone. And we can do it by ourselves. There's no one in this world that has done it by themselves. We as people were put on this earth to help other people. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No one is doing it alone. But society would have us to think as men that carrying all of this burden, carrying all of this pain, proving yourself to everyone that's in your life, defending yourself to everyone that's in your life, that's the measure of a true man. But all of what society wants men to do creates chaos. The suicide rate, the violence, domestic violence, the sexual assault, the prison system, all predominantly done by men. We are communicating our feelings in all the wrong ways, and no one's talking about it. Suicide is communication. Putting a gun to someone's head and pulling the trigger is communication. Beating on women and children is communication. They're saying something and we're not being heard. And it's dangerous because it's going to continue happening, and it shouldn't. Women shouldn't be afraid to jump into an Uber and be driven 5 miles to be dropped off. Women shouldn't be afraid to go walk to their cars at night. It just shouldn't happen, but it's happening. We're not teaching young boys, we're not teaching men how to express ourselves in a positive and productive way. So we run to alcohol and gambling and porn and women, and drugs and sex and all the things that we think are cool. And it's only pushing us further and further away from who we truly are as a person and as a man. And I know for a fact that this is what happened to me in my marriage. That's why I'm not running around here trying to blame any and everybody for what happened. I was diagnosed with PTSD, came back from the war in 05, 06, saw a lot of things that a 19-year-old, 20-year-old shouldn't see. Heads been blown off, been blown up, been shot at, people dying, people shot, the screams, the smell. Mentally, you just don't know how to compute. And even at the age of 35, I still don't know how to compute the destruction that human beings can do to other human beings with a sheer disregard to life or other people's life. So I've struggled with that. I was about 19, 20 when I went to Iraq. So 15, 16 years, I've struggled with hypervigilance, always looking around, making sure no one's about to do anything dumb or stupid. I have a hard time concentrating, so I'm always moving around and doing something. Because if I allow myself to sit with my thoughts for a long period of time, I find myself thinking about all the crazy things that could potentially happen, but will never happen. So I'm dealing with this PTSD. I'm dealing with not learning, not knowing how to communicate and express my feelings in a productive way. But I'm also working as a BIP facilitator. So I am teaching and helping other men not be abusive. And I was pretty damn good at it. I was helping a lot of men, but I wasn't helping myself in the process. And I said yes to everything. Everyone was my friend. I didn't want to not be friends with you. And if I felt like you didn't like me, I tried harder to be your friend. When we go out, I was that guy buying everyone shots. I was that guy at dinners, eating dinners and, paying for meals. I was that guy searching for validation from other people, and it wouldn't have mattered because I didn't validate myself. So I wouldn't have heard it or seen it, or I would have just shot it down. So I'm coming into all of my relationships scarred, jaded, not knowing who I was as a person because I had broken myself into pieces to appease everyone in my life. So when I looked at a mirror, I didn't know who I saw. I saw bits and pieces of who Aaron Thomas was, but the other pieces I didn't know who they were and where they came from. And so I come into my marriage assuming that I'm whole and healed, but broken. I come into it broken. I come into it messed up, messy. I think I'm doing what is right as a man. I don't know. I've never seen it. No one's ever talked about it. It's just assumed this is what you do. This is how you do it. So I'm just doing what I feel I need to do in order to keep my wife happy. Happy wife, happy life. That's all I heard my entire life. Happy wife, happy life. But then things started to happen with me. And I started to really read books and watch videos. And I began to work on myself. Change is difficult. I'll put that out there right now. And a lot of times you don't feel the change even when you're changing. So there was beauty in working on myself and not feeling like I was really changing. July, we decided to separate, Erica and I. And I fell into a downward spiral of despair. But in October, God was like, hey, pay attention. He allowed some things to happen, and I had to refocus my life on the things that I was doing and on the things that I shouldn't do. And all of those things that I was learning over like maybe a 4 year period became clearer to me once I slowed down and started really putting words to action. And that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, like I was changing. I had been changing. I just didn't take the time to see the change, or it was so small that I just assumed that it wasn't change. It is so important as a young man, a man, to find yourself in this world and to not be what everyone else wants you to be, because you're weak when it comes to that. You're weak as a man when you're being and doing everything for everyone else except yourself. And your relationship with your spouse suffers for it. And I'm just talking about a heterosexual relationship. I'm not sure if this works in any other relationship. I'm just saying from my perspective of man and woman. People feel your inauthentic self. They know when you're faking. The energy tells you everything you need to know. And so it's hard for someone to trust you, to give you respect, to believe in you if they don't feel you to be authentic. When you're denying your truth, when you're denying who you are as a person to please somebody else, that, if you listen to that phrase, and people do it more often than not, we deny who we are as a person to be liked by people who are also denying who they are to be liked by other people. And then you start to question, how long does this go back? How many fake people have you been interacting with, trying to make them like you, and they don't like themselves? They don't trust themselves. They don't believe in themselves. That's why they're looking to you for that validation. They want to say yes to something. They need to say yes to something. And so they find someone to say yes to, and both people get hurt. Both people get weakened by that. No one is challenging anyone. It's just yes. Hey, let's do this. Yes. Yes. There is no conversation to be had if all I'm saying is yes as a man, because I'm afraid of the conversation that needs to be had, because I'm afraid of what she might say or what she might do. So you just sit there and you say yes to everything. That's how it is easy to blame when you're a yes man, because you didn't think of it. It wasn't your choice. It wasn't your ideal. So you can always blame the other person, taking no accountability for not knowing who you are as a person, as a man. And you feel it too. I felt it. I felt from past relationships the disrespect, the unbelief, not trusting my decisions. You feel it in your partner and with your partner, and it hurts. So, what is your remedy to it? You say yes more. You do more things. You lose yourself more in the process because you're looking for validation. You're looking for love, love that they're already giving you, but you don't feel, so you want more. It's a very dangerous thing as a man to not know yourself or to change your mind anytime something comes up or an ideal comes up. And because you don't want to create chaos or drama or mess, you say yes. I'm telling you right now, people assume some people, I won't say all, some people assume I am a troublemaker because I question and call out things that should be questioned and called out. Why are we doing it this way? Can it be better? What about this? What about that? People don't like to be questioned. People don't like their ideals to be questioned. So they become defensive and they tell you that you're difficult or that you're hard to talk to or that you're a troublemaker because you're looking at it from multiple angles and not just at one angle assuming like this is what it is. It's going to happen once you begin to start doing the work. Once you begin to stop people pleasing and saying yes, people will drop off in a heartbeat because they didn't want nothing else from you but that. People will stop calling you. Texts will stop. Show people will stop texting you. Like you'll find out real quick who was really in your life using you because you didn't know who you was, and who was really in your life because they wanted to be in your life. A lot of people fall off. A lot of people get intimidated or afraid or scared to have conversations with you because you just can't walk around and say things without not even being questioned, but like having a conversation about it. Where did you get that from? How did you come up with that conclusion? Because so and so and so and so and so and so told me. That's not really you doing the work to figure out why you feel the way you feel. You're feeling a certain type of way because so and so and so and so and so and so told you to feel this way. And so you feel that way. It is so important, I'm telling you, fellas, to know thyself, to love thyself, to validate thyself. And I'm not saying be a bully. Don't be a bully. You have to listen. It's not something I'm saying like, oh, I'm just not gonna listen to her at all. These are my ideals. I'm gonna just make my ideals be my ideals. No, man, that's not how it works. Trust me, I know. I have failed. I have, I'm telling you all the things that happened that created a space to where we're separated or someone could just walk away because it's easier to walk away, especially if it's only your ideals. It's only, your thoughts. It's only your perspective and you don't care about theirs. That's not fair neither. So it's not, it's a two-way street. You're both listening, you're both trying to understand, and you come up with the best solution. And you don't try to force your ideals on the other person because that's never been healthy or productive in any way. And if you make a decision, see, that's why it's important to have the conversations as a man and not just say yes and be a yes man. Because if you've made that decision with you and your spouse and it didn't work, you learn from it. You're not blaming each other. You're like, oh, okay, well, we had a conversation about this and it didn't work. Why? Versus we did it your way and it didn't work. So it's your fault. You learn more about yourself. Your wisdom is deepened more when y'all have these conversations about ideals and you come up with the solution that you feel is best for each other and it doesn't work, then you learn from that. It's not a negative thing or a wrong thing. Be willing to be wrong and grow from it. That's a fear that a lot of people have. I can't say a lot, but that's a fear that people have. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to fail. So they don't do anything or they just say yes. I don't want my marriage to fail. So as a man, I'm going to say yes to everything my wife wants. Well, your marriage is failing, buddy. Just going to put it out there. And again, this is my opinion. This is the things that I've gone through. So they can't be disputed. It's lived experience. If you want to save your marriage, learn about yourself as a man. Grow as a man. Don't just say yes. Because a yes man loses. A yes man loses. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we should all want to be and feel relevant and loved and whole in our relationships. We should want to feel heard and understood. We should all want that. We should all strive for that. As a high value man, you have to have your own ideals, your own perspective, your own opinions, your own thoughts. And then you listen to your spouse's thoughts, perspective, ideals, and opinion. And you sit down and you have a conversation about it and you come up with the best solution. You shouldn't force someone to adopt or to take your ideal. And she shouldn't neither. It should be a conversation. Two heads are better than one. But as a man, if you've already been a yes man saying yes, 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 she can't trust you. She can't trust your decision making skills, and she views you as a weaker man, someone who can be manipulated and persuaded to do whatever it is that she wants to do. So she'll do it. You don't think a woman's going to not care about where you get the finances from if she wants that Coach purse? She knows she can persuade you into buying it for her, and for a fact you have to work 20 hours extra for the next month. You don't want to do it because you got other plans, but you do it anyway to make her happy. And so you miss out on your plans. You're working 20 extra hours that month. You're going to start feeling some type of way, burnt out, used. And because you don't feel loved, because you don't feel validated, because you don't feel wanted, you find yourself searching or filling holes in your life to make you feel that way. So you run to alcohol, you run to porn, you run to women, you try to fill those holes, but those holes only get bigger and bigger, and you feel less and less and less as a man. Then you start to call her names or say or think bad things about her. And if you can call someone a name, you can put your hand on that person, because a name, calling your name, allows me to view you as less than. Man, this is my BIP coordinator position coming in now. I've worked with guys who were abusive for 4 years, and if they can call their spouse a name straight to their face, then that man feels superior to that woman. And from the name calling comes all the other things that come with abuse: verbal, mental, emotional, physical, sexual, financial, spiritual. And he's blaming her for why he's doing all the jacked up things that he's doing to her. He's not seeing how broken he is as a man. He thinks he's strong. And so because he thinks he's strong, he tries to exert his power and control over the people that's in his life. And it doesn't create respect, it creates fear. It is dangerous as a man to not know thyself. It is dangerous as a man to just say yes to any and everything that your loved one is asking for or wants. It's dangerous because at some point there will be a tipping point, and you're going to have to deal with whatever it is that you have been trying not to deal with. Or you'll drink yourself to death, or you'll overdose, or you'll mess up your family because you're running to women to make you feel good, knowing that it's going to destroy, knowing that it's going to hurt. You don't care. You want to feel good. High value men are considerate, and they take everything as a whole to make the best decision for his life, or he learns how to communicate with his spouse, his wife, so that they can then, in turn, make the best decisions for themselves. And to me, it's a beautiful thing. And it sucks that I have to learn all this stuff now. It sucks that I couldn't implement it in my past relationship, because a lot of things wouldn't have happened if I was a man of value, if I was a man that was really trying. And I thought I was, but I also didn't know myself. So if anyone hasn't told you today that they love you, let me be the first to say I love you. You are awesome. You are amazing. You deserve the best that this world has to offer. Do not give up. Do not quit, because the world doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. I appreciate y'all for listening, for downloading, for sharing. If you have any questions or comments, or you're like, that doesn't make sense, or you don't agree, please. I enjoy having conversations with people from a different perspective. It helps me grow because I want to understand where other people are coming from. And I would hope that you would try to understand where I'm coming from, and then we can leave there with more respect for each other. So I would appreciate it if you had, something that you wanted to say, or if something that I said on here doesn't add up, call me out on it. I'm big on that. Call me out. Let's have the conversation because I'm trying to grow. I want to be the best man I can possibly be because I want to teach my nephews and anyone else who want to listen, because we're going somewhere with this. We are going somewhere with this. So y'all have a good rest of your Friday. Have a safe weekend, and we will see y'all next Friday. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And for daily, motivational, and up-to-date content, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Excellence Above Talent. And remember, keep moving forward, never give up, and you are never alone in this battle. We'll see you next time.